This is Bethel College Volleyball, live on the Bethel Sports Network.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have the Bethel Sports Network. My name is Andrew Boyer here at Tim Saravolo as we cover some Bethel volleyball as the Pilots welcome in St. Francis Cougars. Now the Pilots are 9-15 overall, the 5-6 Crossroads League record, while the Cougars come in with 3-20 overall with 2-9 in the Crossroads League. Let's look at the standings for the Crossroads League overall, as Bethel is locked in a three-way tie with Huntington and Grace University for fourth place. Very tight in the Crossroads League so far. As we know, the top 8 go to the conference tournament at the end of the season, so every win counts for the Pilots as they move closer and closer to that tournament time.
Yeah, and this is a game they should win, so can't afford to drop one here at home. Again, we've talked about it before. The Pilots have struggled at home. They're 2-8. They did win last week against Huntington at home, but really need to get this win. It's one they should win.
Seems like the trend that we see with Pilots in the most recent times. The wins come in 3-1 sets. The losses are ugly. 0-3. The last 6 losses are for a 3-0 sweeps. The back to start the game is Kristen Mitchell for the Pilots. Too much on it to start the game. That is not what the Pilots needed to see. And the Pilots need to get off to a strong start here, because when winning the first set, the Pilots are 9-3 on the season, but when losing it, they are 0-12. Now back to serve. Served well by Aaron Carlos. Peyton Anderson sets it up to Zoe Wolfenbarger. Received well by St. Francis. Brought over Kristen Mitchell. Peyton Anderson sets up. Cassandra Williams brings it home for the Pilots. Good point there for the Pilots. Back to serve for the Pilots is Aaron Carlos. He's the libero tonight. Serve received well by the Cougars. Set up. That'll be out. Pilots take it up 2-1. And Carlos to serve. Gets it over the net. Received well by the Cougars. Set up. And the block gets that one for the Pilots. Over and finds the open zone is number 10, Ann Clark for the Cougars. A lot of depth over there on the Cougars side as they bring quite a few players on their bench compared to the Pilots. Now back to serve for them, number 3, Sam Soltis. Not returned well by the Pilots. That'll go up as an ace.
Yeah, that's great. Gets those and goes right at her. Just knocked it off the court.
Sam Soltis back to serve for St. Francis. Takes the net. Kristen Mitchell gets it up. Tipped over by Zoe Wolfenbarger. Too much on the return. They can't handle it. Zoe Wolfenbarger, they call her Vegas. She is a senior. Very nice touch. She leads the team in kills, and that's why. Just being able to mix it up with those, putting some heat on it. Also, those little cheeky touches over the net that can get you points. Wolfenbarger back to serve. Gets it up. Aaron Carlos set it up. Peyton Anderson,
nice.
quick set over the net. She is so good at that. She leads the team in assists, so we're talking stats. And something she's so good at from that setter position is just those quick little dumps over the net.
Yeah, it looked like she was going to just set that up and then change it up and drop it in.
Wolfenbarger back to serve. Out.
Just out.
Now the key to victory from Bethel tonight is going to be curbing those mental mistakes. Back to serve for the Cougars, Cassidy Rammel. Wolfenbarger receives the serve. Anderson sets it up. Received ball by Wolfenbarger. Anderson with the quick set again. kept alive by St. Francis, but knocked out, just couldn't get it over. Well done there by Anderson, picking her spot. Now in comes Katie Easter for Peyton Anderson. And Easter will serve for the Pilots. Received well by the libero. A quick spike over, Wolfenbarger's not served.
Vegas.
Too much on it for Haley Brown on that one. As the Cougars just get out of the way. It is now 5-5, it's all tied up. And you kind of see this from the Pilots from time to time. It goes back and forth, the momentum, we've talked about it all season. You got to get something in their favor. Sadie Alberson back to serve for the Cougars. See if they get it done here. Aaron Carlos with the return. Peyton Anderson wins the 2-on-1 battle.
Nice block.
At the net.
She's known for her assists, but nice defensive play there.
Well done. And coming in now, Cassandra Williams and Bridget Downs. Downs is a freshman from Lexington, Kentucky, and she will take the serve. Gets it over, set up. Great block there. This set up. Peyton Anderson sets up Wolfenbarger. Just outside. Point goes to St. Francis.
Bethel seems a little flat. It's almost like they know that St. Francis isn't the best team in the world. And they're kind of playing up to their competition here. They're down to that competition.
You kind of get that feeling. You definitely do. Now back to serve is Bridget Downs, and Bethel can't afford to get complacent. They're locked in a three-way tie, like we said, and an upset here would really hurt them, not only in the standings, but as it stands to stay into the top 8 and
definitely
get into the tournament. So the battle of complacency cannot.
Especially since they closed the season with Indiana Wesleyan and Mount Vernon both on the road, so they need to get these wins when they can at home.
Definitely, those teams, of course, are number 1 and 2 in the Crossroads League. Cannot afford to drop little games like this when you have such big games on the schedule coming up. It is 6-all on the floor right now for the Pilots. It's Aaron Carlos, Katie Easter, Zoe Wolfenbarger, Peyton Anderson, Krista Mitchell, and Cassandra Williams. Let's see how this lineup can do. St. Francis has a lot of players on that bench over there, and they are staying loud and keeping it liven up around here. Back to serve for the Cougars, number 11, Chloe Hogner. Service error into the net. That'll be 7-6 for the Pilots. They'll take those points when they can get them. And back to serve now for the Pilots is Peyton Anderson, who has been very good so far in this first set from her setter position. Gets the net over. That looked like it hit a brick wall right there as Cassandra Williams and Kristen Mitchell were able to get that block.
Nicely timed.
Definitely the defensive presence is something we like to see as well from the Pilots. Anderson to serve over the net. Too much mustard on it for number 10, Ann Clark.
Pilots getting a little run here.
Pilots definitely getting on a little run as they lead 9-6. Anderson back to serve again. Gets it over, returned nicely by Cougars, and brought home by number 5, Haley McMillan.
Katie Easter with a nice dive, nice effort, just couldn't quite get there.
The effort is there. The Pilots are still up 9-7 and back to serve for the Cougars. Number 12, Emily Poe. Gets it over. Aaron Carlos with the return. And Vegas tries to get it over. Mitchelson up and over for Vegas. Blocked by Cassandra. Just couldn't stay on that exchange. Could not win the exchange. It is now 9-8. We've seen Bethel get on these little runs in some sets, but also it seems like they kind of take their foot off the gas pedal. They got to avoid that. Can't let St. Francis hang around here. Peyton Anderson gets it over. Kristen Mitchell over the net. Anderson and Williams able to get it over. Anderson sets up Wolfenbarger. Off the block into the libero. Anderson sets it up for Williams. And that brings it home. Cassandra Williams. She is playing well so far.
Nice little touch shot there. Seems like the Pilots are trying a lot of that tonight.
Definitely finding those open zones on the court and able to just get the cheeky touch right over into that open zone. Kristen Mitchell gets the serve over the net. Set up and brought home by number 10, Ann Clark. That one had some heat on it. It was right on the line.
With authority.
Back to serve for the Cougars is the libero number 8, Valerie Flick. Kristen Mitchell returns to Anderson, and Amanda Brinkman just can't win the battle at the net. She is blocked by number 10, Ann Clark. Flick back to serve for the Cougars again. There, Carlos, Peyton Anderson, and Cassandra Williams. Pilots are now lost the lead. It is 10-11. Turn by Kristen Mitchell, Peyton Anderson over to Brinkman, and the front line play is there again for the Cougars as Ann Clark and Megan Diagostino is there.
Timeout by the Pilots.
Timeout called, and Coach Rochelle Wiegand is not looking happy with their players' start. They started out on fire. They were talking. They were doing what they had to do, but now they're down 12-10.
Five-point run for St. Francis. Need to take a break here and kind of figure things out.
Definitely need to regroup, refocus, get back to what was working there. Those little touches over the net, the dumps by Peyton Anderson, brought home by Cassandra Williams. Just the little things that were working throughout the set.
You're out. They want to deliver to these guys.
Coach Wiegand is not pleased. She is showing that right now to her girls. Look, this is what we got to do. This is what we said we were going to do. This is the game plan. Do it. Do what we told we practiced. Do it how we were supposed to do it. Now let's get out there and take it. We're better than this. We're better than what we're playing.
Yeah, that was a good timeout.
Seem like they're a little fired up, a little more focus coming out of that. The Pilots are good this season when they come out of timeouts. See how it works for them here. Kristen Mitchell gets the serve. Peyton Anderson sets up Wolfenbarger. Received well by the Cougars. Brought over Kristen Mitchell. Gets the dig. Then that's out. Unfortunate for the Pilots there.
Good execution. Just missed it.
Very close there for Amanda Brinkman. She is the other senior on the team along with Vegas. Now Valerie Flick back to serve, received ball, Anderson, and Williams brings it home for the Pilots. The score is now 13-11 in favor of the Cougars, but the Pilots don't seem to be sweating it there. Aaron Carlos back to serve.
Here down for Cassandra Williams.
Set up there. Brought home by the block. Uh-oh, we have a net violation called.
Too bad.
Wolfenbarger does not agree with that one. Looking at the ref. After that one, she is not happy. That seemed okay to me, but I'm no referee. Serve now mishandled by Kristen Mitchell. Cougars now up 15-11.
Can't afford that.
Sam Soltis back to serve for the Cougars, who are on a nice little run here. Kristen Mitchell gets it back on that one. Anderson sets up Haley Brown, but the defense is there. Megan Diagostino is there to block that one. And Sam Soltis back to serve again. Very good front line play from Cougars coming out.
Coach Regan trying to find some type of combination here. Get some points on the board.
That's a point for the Pilots on a double hit called. They needed that. Wolfenbarger back to serve. See the Pilots come out a little bit of a run here, and they can't with the service error coming from Vegas. That is not how you start the comeback.
Yeah, she leads the team in aces, and our best server can't afford to have that.
Yep, tied for the lead in aces with Erin Carlos. Good serve there from the Cougars. Haley Brown, just a tip over the net. Well played there from Haley Brown as she is playing hurt. You see her taped up with a hip injury. But she's tough. She's playing through it, and she's doing very well. Now back to serve for the Pilots is Katie Easter. Gets it over. Set up there off the block. Erin Carlos gets the dig. Anderson sets up Mitchell. And that was very well done by Kristen Mitchell as she brings it home. Pilots now only down by 3 and mounting some momentum.
Really nice dig by Erin Carlos to keep that alive.
Set up there, brought home by Becca Pruden. A little authority. Pilots got out of position just a little bit, and she was able to take advantage. And now back to serve for the Cougars, number 16, Sadie Alberson. But service error into the net, not able to capitalize on the point. Pilots take over, only down by 4.
They should have picked up another point there.
Now, Bridget Downs to serve. Set up nicely. Katie Easter there at the dig, well done. Kristen Mitchell has to set it over and gets it. Oh, she does not. My fault, folks. Katie Easter to Peyton Anderson. Williams just have to send it over from Mitchell and into that back corner. Well done there by Mitchell. Very good rally from both sides on that, but Bethel able to come out on top. And that's one of those things that flips the momentum, and Bethel is now in the driver's seat as they keep going.
Yeah, I thought that was the best point of the night for Bethel.
So far. And the block is there. Cassandra Williams and Peyton Anderson able to hit the brick wall on that. Send it back over. Bethel now down by 1. And Williams able to win the one-on-one. All tied up now at 18. Downs back to serve. Received well by the Cougars. This time the jump there by Becca Pruden, but she gets it over nonetheless.
Good effort by Bridget Downs diving for that, just couldn't quite get it.
Definitely great effort there from the freshman. It's what you like to see. Now to serve for the Cougars, number 11, Chloe Hubner. Peyton Anderson sets up a quick set over the net. Good dig there. Some miscommunication on the Cougar side, though. Good effort there by number 6, Nikki Marshall. Just not enough. It is all tied up at 19 with Peyton Anderson back to serve.
Yeah, the Cougars outsmarted themselves there. Faked themselves out.
Easter able to get it over. Mitchell sends it over and out. Not what the Pilots needed to see. Now down 20-19. Number 12, Emily Poe, back to serve for Cougars. Received well by Wolfenbarger. Just has to get it over. Free ball for the Cougars. Set up and just has to send it over. That's a free ball for the Pilots. Anderson sets up Wolfenbarger. Received well. And out. Oh, they're calling that in. A touch on the Pilots.
Touch on the Pilots.
Now back to serve for the Cougars, number 12, Emily Poe.
Cassie Sears in on the front line.
Cassandra Williams able to get it off the block there. That exchange, and Peyton Anderson tip it over, take the points where you can get them. That was very well done by Williams, picking her spot.
Nice use of her
attacking.
left hand.
On the floor for the Pilots now is Kristen Mitchell, Erin Carlos, Peyton Anderson, Zoe Wolfenbarger, Kristen Mitchell. I'm sorry, that's Cassandra Williams and Amanda Brinkman. Has to send it over. Nice dig by Anderson to Carlos. And Wolfenbarger gets it over, but it's called out. Cougars now up 22-20, and the Pilots cannot afford to lose the first set. As we've said many times before, statistically, they have not won a game this season where they have lost the first set. Now back to serve. Valerie Flick brought over. Kristen Mitchell sets up. Peyton Anderson to Wolfenbarger. Kristen Mitchell to Peyton Anderson. Britton Carnahan sends it over. Well done by the block there for the Pilots. Anderson to Williams. Well done there by the libero Flick. And too much on it there for Cassidy Rammel. Very good rally there for the Pilots, staying alive. And also a very good effort on the Cougars side from Valerie Flick.
Great point.
The redshirt freshman.
Some good volleyball there.
Erin Carlos back to serve for the Pilots. She and Wolfenbarger in a tie for the lead in aces. Received well by Flick. Throw it over. Anderson sets it up. Wolfenbarger gets it over, but blocked by Cassidy Rammel and Megan D'Agostino. Good defensive play there from the Cougars. And timeout called as we are at 23-21 Cougars in the first set. Tim, what's Rochelle Wiegand going to say to her girls during this timeout?
I think she's going to remind them of that, a little bit of that first set history, and just emphasize the need for execution here. They certainly have an opportunity to still get this first set, but they got to play better than they've been playing.
Definitely, they're definitely playing down to the level of their opponents when you really should be dominating and playing at that, stay at that high level of competition. It seems like every game Bethel can hang around with whoever they're playing, but those few points, those few critical kills, that just sets Bethel apart from other teams in the Crossroads League. You see it time and time again where Bethel comes out on the losing end of those scuffles. And when, like we've said many times before, it's a stat we don't like to say, but it's relevant. They have not won a game this season when losing the first set. 0-11, 0-12 actually, when losing the first set. And I'm sure Coach Wiegand's reminding them of that. As she sends out on the court, Kristen Mitchell, Erin Carlos for libero, Zoe Wolfenbarger. Britton Carnahan and Haley Brown. Peyton Anderson coming out now. Back to serve for the Cougars is Sam Soltis. She gets it over, returned by Carlos. Peyton Anderson sets up. Haley Brown brings
Nice.
it home with some authority. The Pilots are not done yet in this set.
Reminds me of the Huntington game where they called timeouts and they came out and they executed well right out of the timeout.
Definitely got to have that fire, and they're showing it now. Wolfenbarger to serve. Gets it over. Flick returns it, brought over, and not too much to handle there for Carlos. This will be set point right here. Back to serve for the Cougars, Cassidy Rammel. She's had a good night so far. Peyton Anderson sets it up. Wolfenbarger just has to send it over. That's a free ball for the Cougars. Off the block. Carlos with
Nice
the dig
play.
there. Wolfenbarger gets it over. Set up. Flick sends it over. Wolfenbarger gets the dig. Anderson. Britton Carnahan off the block. Anderson with the quick set over and just can't handle it. Peyton Anderson with that little dump over and some miscommunication as to who was going to return it for the Cougars. Well done there by the Pilots. It is now 24-23, and they're definitely showing life. Flick returns it. Good job there by Easter. Kristen Mitchell with the tip over. Great effort there, but has to send it over. Set something up. Haley Brown gets it over. It is now all tied up at 24. Now, folks, we should mention that you have to win the set by 2 points. So this is not set point anymore.
St. Francis timeout.
St. Francis takes the timeout, but back to the rules of volleyball in case you're not familiar. You must win the set by 2 points. So Bethel needs to go on a 2-point run here, or St. Francis. And if they keep alternating points, this will just go and go until someone can get that 2-point advantage.
Yeah, I hate to use the cliche, but their backs were against the wall there, and they really played well, those 2 points.
Definitely. I think Coach Wiegand's telling her girls that. She's proud of her girls. They played well in that set, and they're still playing well, and they're still in it. I think that's what she's saying. Keep that fire going. Keep the intensity up. And you see them. They're fired up, and to see if they can get out of this timeout and get out of this set with a win. Katie Easter back to serve. See if she can bring the Pilots home with the win in this set. Return there. Sometimes it's better to be lucky and good. And
Pilots just watched that miscommunication.
everybody assumed somebody else was going to get it, so nobody got it. 16, Sadie Alberson to serve for the Cougars. She gets it over, returned by Carlos. Anderson sets up Mitchell. Gets it into that back corner. She has been favoring that corner all night long. She gets them all to come up, and then she just dinks it right over their heads.
That was clutch.
Very well done there. Coach Wiegand saying, keep it up, stay fired up. She is staying on her girls right now, and the freshman to serve Bridget Downs. Up there, that is a point for the Pilots. Pilots now need one more point. It is set point now for the Pilots, and this one is huge.
Another unforced error, helping the Pilots.
And that's another timeout for St. Francis.
Yeah, St. Francis has to feel like they've let this one slip away a little bit. They were knocking on the door, 24-21. Now down a point with Bethel serving.
And Coach Wiegand, in her first season, has done a very good job. She comes over during the timeout. She talks to her assistant. She makes sure she knows what she wants to say before she gets into the huddle. talking to each other. They think is going on what they're seeing. And as soon as Coach Wiegand comes in, you see it. All business. Everyone's in, locked in, trying to get this point so they can come out of this first set with a win. To better their chances of bringing this one home. St. Francis isn't going to give it to them, though. They have to earn it. They're coming out fired up. On the floor right now for St. Francis is Nikki Marshall, libero, Valerie Flick, Becca Pruden, Sam Soltis, Haley McMillan, and Megan D'Agostino. Brought over. Wolfenbarger with the dig. Kristen Mitchell sets it up. Vegas puts it over. See by Flick. Wolfenbarger gets over. Anderson sets up Williams. Nothing doing there. Sent over by Tara Heald. And that's the set! Pilots take set number 1, 27-25. And they are feeling it now. They know that was huge.
Yeah, that was important. They were down. They were up against it. They rallied.
I think the overall theme of that first set for the Pilots was overcoming adversity, and they did it in a great way. As they were able to come back from that deficit and come back ultimately with the win. They showed grit, they showed heart, they showed passion for the game, and they did very good, and they communicated well throughout. That's what, if we can see that all night long, maybe, don't want to call it too early, but maybe we can see the sweep, which would help out the Pilots so much, the confidence level after all the losses that they've had recently, as they have only won 2 of the last 8 games and haven't swept anybody since September 14th at Spring Arbor. So a sweep here would set them up nicely for their next game, which will be an invitational October 14th and 15th in Des Moines, Iowa. Confidence from a win here, presumably, would definitely help out at that invitational. What do you think they're saying there in between sets? Keep it loose, keep the intensity up, but loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, and I also think they're talking about the way they played down the stretch there. It was almost like they flipped the switch and really started playing at a different level. And I think Coach Wiegand's probably saying, hey, let's not let ourselves get in that position again when we're, down, ready to lose the set. Let's play that way right from the beginning of this next set.
Definitely. When you show that fire this early in the game with it just being the first set, you don't want to fizzle out.
Right.
You want to be able to maintain the intensity, maintain that attitude, I guess. That way you can set it over into the next sets and into hopefully a win for the Pilots.
Yeah, play with some urgency right from the beginning.
Definitely have to battle complacency. We are now being delivered the first set stats from the amazing Josh Rodak.
Amazing Josh Rodak.
He is pretty amazing. Now leading assist totals for Bethel, 15 assists, most of them for Peyton Anderson with 10. 3 for Wolfenbarger and 1 for Kristen Mitchell and Aaron Carlos. And for St. Francis in the assist category, only 9, most of them from Chloe Hubner, number 11. Kills for the Pilots, led by Haley Brown and Cassandra Williams with 4 apiece. 2 for Wolfenbarger and 3 for Kristen Mitchell. And the digs category came out big for the Pilots with 23 digs total. 5 apiece for Wolfenbarger and Mitchell. 4 for Katie Easter, 4 for Peyton Anderson. All around, they're really spreading the love out, especially with the digs. Everyone playing at a high level. But the blocks came out really well for the Pilots. 2 for Cassandra Williams, and then 1 apiece for Peyton Anderson and Kristen Mitchell. All around, a team effort in the first set is how you could describe it best. And to start the second set for the Pilots on the floor, Katie Easter, Meg Gabbard, Peyton Anderson, Kristen Mitchell, Aaron Carlos, and Cassandra Williams to start it. And for the Cougars, Valerie Flick, Chloe Hubner, Nikki Marshall, Haley McMillan, Ann Clark, Cassidy Rammel. And to start the second set, the serve will be from Valerie Flick to the libero. As we're picking up some moisture on the court, Aaron Carlos taking care of that. And we are ready to start this second set. Valerie Flick back for the Cougars as they try to bounce back from kind of letting it slip away in that first half. And that's not the way to start it. As the Pilots go up 1-0, they'll take the points where they can get them.
Depends on your perspective. I think the Pilots would say that is the way to start it.
That's not how the Cougars wanted to start it there.
Of course not.
But the Pilots will take the points where they can get them. Peyton Anderson to send it over. Bounced off the net there, but Aaron Carlos gets set up for Mitchell. Brought over. Williams sends it over frantically. Marcus off Anderson with the dig there. Carlos sets up Wolfenbarger. Anderson to Carlos. Mitchell bringing it over. Nice dig there for Peyton Anderson. Wolfenbarger sets it up and Marshall there to get it. The block is there for that one with Mitchell. And into the net there. Number 2, Cassidy Rammel, complaining about some moisture on the court.
She's drying it off. Nice execution by Bethel.
Very well done there at that point. Those Pilots are now up 2-0.
Everybody did their job.
Peyton Anderson back to serve. Everyone's doing what they have to do. You're exactly right, Tim. Sends it over. Flick returns it. And that is a violation for the Cougars. That's a net violation. Pilots get that one 3 up. They're up 3 now.
Peyton Anderson with a serve.
Set over, returned by Marshall. Hubner to McMillan, but that one's out. Pilots up on a 4-0 run to start the second set.
Yeah, they're taking the momentum from the last set and getting off to a great start here.
Definitely carrying it over, and Anderson sets it up. Marshall to Hubner. And the Cougars able to get that first point there from Cassidy Rammel. As she brings it home, they're feeling it now, 4-1. As they bring in number 12, Emily Poe, and she'll be back to serve. Wolfenbarger receives serve, but no one there to go chase it down. That's will be drawn up as an ace for the Cougars. 4-2 is the score. Net violation called on the Cougars. That'll be Pilots' point. 5-2 now is the score.
That's the second net violation on the Cougars in the early going here.
Kristen Mitchell serve, gets it over. Hubner sets up. Carlos with the dig, but not able to keep it in bounds.
Great effort.
That's what you get from her on every single point. Great effort from Erin Carlos. She's giving it 110% every time she steps on that court. Sam Soltis back. Too much on it there. Pilots are up now 6-3, and they're looking up. They're having some fun over there. High five, and they're ready to go. Aaron Carlos back to serve. Brought up, and error there from Megan D'Agostino.
Yeah, spiked that right into the net.
Aaron Carlos to serve, gets it over. Received well by St. Francis. Brought over, and that is declared a touch on the Pilots. So that is point for the Cougars. Pilots now up 7-4. Coach Scott Haydix for the Cougars telling his girls to settle down. Having a conversation with the official now. Number 7, Becca Pruden in now. As a timeout is called. Official over at the table trying to talk things out. Seems to be a discrepancy at some point.
Not sure what they're discussing.
Well, while they try to get that figured out, what's going on in that huddle over there, you think, Tim, for the Pilots? I think Coach Wiegand's saying, hey, we came out strong in this set. We came out strong, taking the momentum from the last set over into the second set. They were on a 4-0 run to start it out, but now time to keep up the pressure. Don't get complacent. Don't get out of the driver's seat. Don't take your foot off the gas.
Right.
Keep it going. Go for the kill. Go up into the intermission 2-0. And hopefully they can get that sweep that we've been talking about.
Right. As we talked last week when they were playing Huntington, Coach Wiegand had said that she felt her team often did take their foot off the gas. They would get up and then they would get a little bit complacent, as you say. And she's probably reminding them to just keep the pressure on, continue to play well, continue to play with some urgency.
It's a never-ending battle with complacency. Now, number 2, Cassidy Remmel back to serve for the Cougars. Gets it over. Aaron Carlos able to get it, but Wolfenbarger not able to get under it. Carlos saying, my bad, I should have got that better. 7-5 now is the score, as Remmel is back again to serve. Kristen Mitchell returns to serve, and error there from Amanda Brinkman. Don't see too many of those out of her, the senior. But they happen. Serves it right and gets right into the net. 7-6 is now the score. Remmel seeing if the Cougars can close the gap, and they can. That's an ace. It's all tied up now. Peyton Anderson, Wolfenbarger gets it right over. Kristen Mitchell, Peyton Anderson sets up Haley Brown to bring it home for the Pilots.
Nicely done.
Well done there from Haley Brown, some authority she brought that one down with. Now the momentum can get into the Pilots' favor. Maybe they can go on a little bit of a run here, get back on track to where they were at the start of this set. 8-7 is the score. Wolfenbarger sends it over. Aaron Carlos there, good effort.
Beautiful dig.
Wolfenbarger sends it over. Libero gets it. Quick set over.
Oh,
the Pilots were ready for it. And brought home there by Amanda Brinkman. Short memory after the error, can just send it right over. Get it next time. Zoe Wolfenbarger back to serve for the Pilots again.
Carlos with 2 critical digs during that point.
Yes, she did right there. That was very well played, that entire point by Carlos. Wolfenbarger gets it over. Kristen Mitchell with the dig. Peyton Anderson sets up Wolfenbarger with the tip over. Sets up here for St. Francis. Just can't handle it. Pilots can't. Score is now 9-8. Well done there from number 16, Sadie Alberson.
Good effort by Kristen Mitchell. Just couldn't get enough of it. Keep it in play.
Yep, and back to serve now for the Cougars is number 6, Nikki Marshall. Gets it over, returned by Carlos. Anderson to Brown. Received well by St. Francis. Brinkman and Anderson able to get that quick set. That looked like it went over her head from behind the back. Well done there.
That was really nice.
That's what you
Right on the
look
line
for.
there.
That's what you look for out of your sophomore setter. Nikki Marshall able to return the serve. And the block is there. Just has to get it over. Free ball for the Pilots. Anderson. That is called out.
She saw the space on the floor and just missed it. Great idea.
Rare miss from Anderson, though. She was able to get it over into that zone. Just outside. Now back to serve for the Cougars is number 11, Chloe Hubner. Aaron Carlos gets it up. Mitchell sends it over. Free ball for the Cougars. Nothing doing. Anderson sets up Mitchell, gets it over. Hubner. It's a flick. And the block is there for the Pilots. And Anderson, Cougars able to get it over though. Anderson sets up. Haley Brown brings it home for the Pilots. Number 12, Haley Brown. She is doing very well in this game so far, as the score is now 9-11 in favor of the Pilots. Well done on that point by the Pilots, and now back to serve is the freshman, Bridget Downs. Received ball by the Cougars. But Meg Gabbard just can't get the dig. Too much heat on it from Brecca Pruden. And now back to serve for the Cougars is number 8, Valerie Flick. She's done very well from her libero position so far. Kristen Mitchell, too much on it. Never mind. Declared a touch on the Cougars. Pilots now up 12-10. I spoke too soon there on that one, folks. That's my bad. Everybody makes mistakes in the commentating game.
That's right. It was hard to see.
Peyton Anderson now back to serve for the Cougars. Cougars Pilots. It's ball break, folks. Valerie Flick. That one's out, just outside. Good eye there by Aaron Carlos. So let's let that one sail just outside the line. Peyton Anderson to serve, 13-10 Pilots. And a service error, not what the Pilots were looking for.
That one looked bad right off her hand. You could tell it wasn't going to make it.
Just got to curb those mental mistakes if you're the Pilots. And that seems to be the theme of every game the Pilots go into. They're going to happen. Just try to minimize them. Okay, Easter gets over. Mitchell just outside.
Good try, good idea. Just missed it.
Point there for the Cougars as they tie it up. Back to serve for the Cougars. Well dealt with by the Pilots, but a double hit called on the Pilots on that one. Score is now 14-13 Cougars, and Coach Rochelle Wiegand's going to take a timeout. She does not look happy with her girls and how they're playing at this moment. Now, as they go to the bench, they got to say, hey, we have got to get that fire back. We had it, but like we said, they had to battle complacency, had to battle. They can't let the fire fizzle out, burn out, and I think that's what Coach Wiegand's going to say to them in this timeout. Are we ready to get out there, get back to your fundamentals, do what you were doing before because it was working. Communicate.
Right.
Now Coach Wiegand telling her girls to get together, and they have come out of the timeouts today fired up every single time. I think that's a focus point this season from Coach Wiegand. It is her first season, and it's going pretty well as far as first seasons go. She's 9-15, 5-6 in the Crossroads League, and they are right in it when you think about it. And a win tonight definitely helps out the chances as they are locked in that three-way tie with Grace and Huntington.
Right, that win tonight would bring them up to 500 in the Crossroads League. They really need it.
And great eye there by Wolfenbarger as the serve sails out of bounds.
That helps. Kristen Mitchell back to serve.
See if she can get it over, and she does. Hubner sets it up just off the net, and Wolfenbarger was there. Great point there for the Pilots as they are up 15-14. And Kristen Mitchell back to serve again for the Pilots. Kristen Mitchell able to get it. Peyton Anderson sets it up for Brinkman, who gets it over just outside the line, though, as the Cougars are able to tie it up at 15. Brought over. Cassandra Williams able to get it into that back corner. The Pilots have been loving that back corner there for the most of their points.
Haley Brown just checked back in. She's been playing really well.
Yes, she has. Erin Carlos back to serve as well. She's had a great night when it comes to digs. Set up there for the Cougars. Erin Carlos there again to help out. Just has to send it over. That's a free ball for the Cougars. Up and over, but Wolfenbarger there to help out with the block. Anderson over to Wolfenbarger. Tipped over there for the Cougars. Anderson able to set up Brinkman, but the block is there for the Cougars. Number 16, Sadie Albertson, able to get up there, time to jump, and get the point. Well played there from St. Francis.
Well played point.
They are not out of this yet by any stretch of the imagination. Now back to serve it. Number 2, Cassidy Rammel. Gets it over, returned by Carlos to Anderson. Haley Brown able to get it, but great effort there by Emily Poe.
Erin Carlos with another save.
Dumped over by Kristen Mitchell. And finding the zone right there is Becca Pruden.
Yeah, nobody was getting that.
She found that open zone in the back corner and was able to have the accuracy to set it right in there. And now Rammel back to serve again as the Cougars able to take the lead 17-16. But that one is out. So the Pilots get the point there. 17-17. It's all tied up. And back to serve is Zoe Wolfenbarger, who leads the team in kills and is tied for the lead in aces. So an ace here would be nice for the Pilots. If she gets it over, returned well. But the block just couldn't handle it. Number 13, Megan D'Agostino. Able to get it through the block. Tough break there for the Pilots, but nothing they can do about it now. 18-17 is the score with Nikki Marshall back to serve for the Cougars. And Peyton Anderson just beats the block and is able to get it over. St. Francis appealing for a net violation. They are not happy, but
that's the 4th or 5th time she's done that tonight.
She is very good.
Sneaking it in.
She picks her spots very, very well. Way beyond what you would expect a sophomore to do, but she is very good. Katie Easter gets it over. Nikki Marshall returns it. So that's a free ball for the Pilots. Anderson sets up to Brown. Flick able to get it though. Very well done there. And too much mustard on it for number 7, Becca Pruden. Back to serve for the Pilots is Katie Easter. Nikki Marshall able to get that. And looks like it hit a brick wall there. Nice block. Peyton Anderson sets up Britton Carnahan. And that is in, just able to touch the line. Pilots are now up 20-18.
Timeout Cougars. Coach is a little bit unhappy with some of the calls, letting the officials know.
Yeah, he is arguing with those officials. A couple net violations that they think they should have gotten. Officials think otherwise. Can't change those calls now, but when you're arguing with an official as a coach, you're not arguing about the call per se as much as you're arguing for the next call.
Exactly. Plant that seed in the official's mind.
Hey, you got to be watching for that. And Scott Haydick saying to his girls now, play it tight. These officials are not on our side, as you can see so far. So you got to play it tight. You got to play fundamentally sound volleyball, and you're not out yet. Only 2 points. You're only down 2 points. And on the flip side, Coach Wiegand saying to the girls, hey, bring it home. 5 more points, and we are up into the intermission 2-0, potentially going to go 3-0, and a sweep here would really build the confidence for the Pilots going into, as we said, that invitational, which is their next contest.
The Grandview Invite in Des Moines, Iowa.
Definitely, and also it's fall break for these girls at Bethel, so going into the break with a win would be definitely ideal. And Bailey Brown there with a great block. Block able to knock it up. Aaron Carlos, Peyton Anderson, and Britton Carnahan almost got right in the face of Nikki Marshall. Good effort there from Aaron Carlos, just not able to handle it. Becca Pruden, too much on it there at that time. A lot of depth over there on the Cougars side.
Good point for the Cougars.
Anderson sets it up for Brown. He gets the tip over, but Marshall is there. Hubner gets it over to number 10, Ann Clark. They are able to knot it up. It is 20-20. Chloe Hubner to serve. Peyton Anderson gets it over, but Valerie Flick is there. Knocked up by the block. Anderson with the quick set over again. Katie Easter able to get it over to Britton Carnahan to bring it home. 21-20 Pilots. 4 points away from going into the intermission 2-0. And back again is the freshman, number 11, Bridget Downs. Marshall able to get it just off the block. Nothing you can do there from Cassandra Williams. Timed it right, just goes off of her hand wrong. It is all knotted up at 21, and this game has been relatively back and forth so far, both in the first and now the second set. Wouldn't you say, Tim?
I'm sorry?
This game has been really back and forth.
Yes, definitely.
and just couldn't get over. Miscommunication between Aaron Carlos and Britton Carnahan. And that's a timeout now.
Coach Wiegand this time.
Coach Wiegand taking the timeout. She has to say to her girls, come on now. Wouldn't you rather go into this intermission 2-0 than 1-1? It is much different. There's a much different feeling in that locker room at 2-0 than at 1-1. And they're only down by 1, so it's just 4 points. Keep it consistent, battle complacency, keep the mental mistakes to a minimum.
Well, they were down the last set 24-21, came back and won it.
So they've been here before. They've been here very recently, as they were 15 minutes ago. They were in the exact same spot, only down a little bit more. So they can calm down a little bit knowing that, hey, we can do this, we've done it. And no one forgets that, we've done it. So it's go through, go into it, finish out the set, and go into the intermission smiling because you're up 2-0. And of course, Coach Haydix for the Cougars saying, you can't go in 2-0. It's very, very different. If you go in 1-1, it's evened up. It's really been a back and forth game, and if Pilots are able to pull this one out, they can say, hey, we're up 2-0, but it still wasn't pretty. It was very back and forth through the first 2 sets so far. And now back to serve for the Cougars is number 8, libero Valerie Flick. Gets it over and received by Gabbard. Peyton Anderson sets it up for Britton Carnahan, who gets it up, and it starts with just 1 point. And in comes Wolfenbarger as well. Out comes Gabbard. Anderson back to serve. It is all knotted up at 22. Peyton Anderson gets the serve for the Pilots, gets it over, high floating serve. Hubbard and quick spike, but Aaron Carlos there for the dig, and Wolfenbarger gets it over. Good block there from Wolfenbarger. Anderson, and then Wolfenbarger gets it over again. Just right through the block. 23-22 Cougars. They are feeling it after that point.
Cassidy Rammel there with some authority.
Number 12, Emily Poe back to serve for the Cougars. They try to bring this one home. Peyton Anderson gets it up for Cassandra Williams. Returned well by the Cougars. Over the block, Aaron Carlos with the dig. Britton Carnahan with the block, takes it right back in her face, and Cassandra Williams takes it down. Peyton Anderson up for Wolfenbarger. Well received by the Cougars. And that one's declared in. It is now set point for the Cougars. 24-22. Let's see how the Pilots can respond, if they can overcome the adversity that they're in right now, because they've been in this position just a set ago.
Right. Exact same position.
So they've been there. They can just keep calm. They kind of have a calm demeanor about them, I would say, as you look at them. Peyton Anderson sets it up.
Oh, no.
And that's given for a double hit on the Pilots. Going into the intermission now 1-1, a mental mistake to end it out. Not what you wanted to see if you are Bethel.
Yeah, that was too bad. They had a chance to, as you said, go up 2 sets to none, and just didn't play well down the stretch there.
And it's a big difference when you go into the end of go into the intermission at 2-0. You have all the momentum in your favor. You're just 1 set away from bringing it home. Now you got to win 2 in this post-intermission. Now there's the potential you can get to that 4th set, the 5th set. And the 5th set, of course, is 15 points. The margin for error is much less. So it's a much different feel as you go through, and especially as you go into the intermission at 1-1 instead of 2-0.
Right.
Very well played first 2 sets, though, from Haley Brown. She was very controlled, very calm as she went through, and she also had some authority on her hits. And I think it really helped out the team as a whole, especially in the first set and the second set as well. But I think she kind of fell off in the second set. Not as much production as that first set, but she's really helping her team out as it is now tied up 1-1 going into the intermission here on the Bethel Sports Network. But let's talk about the Crossroads League standings again. Bethel, as we've said many times, is in that three-way tie. And they are really neck and neck as it comes to the conference talk. In that three-way tie for fourth place. 5 and 6 all Huntington Grace. And just one win or one loss can be the difference maker as they go through the Crossroads League season. Next Crossroads League game is going to be against Taylor.
At Taylor University
on October 19th.
Right, they have a string of, they end their season with a string of 5 Crossroad League games. Taylor University on the 19th, Goshen on the 21st, Spring Arbor on the 26th, Indiana Wesleyan on the 28th, and then Mount Vernon on the 29th.
And those two big games at the end of the season, both away at Indiana Wesleyan and Mount Vernon Nazarene, as they are number 1 and 2 in the conference.
Yeah, that's going to be a critical stretch. Playoff implications. A lot at stake during those 5 games.
Definitely.
Bethel Sports Network, of course, will have live coverage of all the home games. So that will include Goshen College on the 21st and Spring Harbor on the 26th.
Definitely. And now let's get back to this game as Bethel Pilots go in to the break. If you're just joining us, they are tied 1-1 with St. Francis. And when teams are tied 1-1 going into the intermission, Bethel is better, 4-3 on the season in this situation. So they're not done yet, especially as if they would have lost the first set. Because if they lose the first set, then they are obviously 0-12 when losing the first set. But now let's go to some stats from the second set. These are the second set only. Now, leading the team in kills for St. Francis would be Cassidy Ramwell. She had 4 kills, my fault. Ann Clark and Megan D'Agostino with 2. 3 for Becca Pruden and 2 for Sadie Alberson. And also 4 kills for the Pilots. Spreading the love around. Peyton Anderson with 2, Haley Brown with 2, Sandra Williams also with 2, but Britton Carnahan leads it with 3. And then 1 apiece for Amanda Brinkman and Kristen Mitchell. And it was all around a very good set, but no blocks from the Pilots in that set. Definitely a downturn. But the blocked hits, 1 for Peyton Anderson, 1 for Sandra Williams. Well done there, but they're kind of a drop-off in the defensive production in that second set, which I think really cost them as they went through and went along with the set.
Yeah, Erin Carlos with 8 digs. She was all over the court doing her thing. That's what she does. Peyton Anderson had 5 digs, leading the way for the Pilots. Several, Meg Gabber and Katie Easter each had 2 digs.
Definitely, and it definitely set and second set. In the first set, the Pilots had 4 blocks and 0 from the Pilots in that second set. And also the assists were better in the first set as the Pilots as a team had 15. And in that second set had only 10. 6 from Peyton Anderson, 2 from Amanda Brinkman, 1 from Kristen Mitchell, and 1 from Katie Easter. But all around just a drop off in every category. Kills went from 16 to 11. Assists from 15 to 10. The digs category was dead even, 23 to 23 from the first and second set for the Pilots. But blocked hits 1 to 2, that went up for the second set, but blocks all in general 4 total first set to 0 in the second. And you're going to see that total come up as you come out of the intermission as you try to establish a defensive presence. As the Pilots, as we've said, they do not have the best record at home 5-8 so far at home this season. You got to protect this house.
Yep.
Especially if you're Coach Wiegand, you're the first-year coach. You're coming in and you're trying to say, hey, let's establish one thing and one thing only very quickly. We are going to win games in Goodman Gymnasium. It's going to be hard for other teams to come into Goodman and get a win. And so far they haven't seen that, but they've also played pretty well on the road. They're 500 at 5-5, 2-2 on a neutral court, but where they are lacking is that home field production, home court production. And as you see, when losing the first set, they're 0-12, as we've said over and over again. And most of those have been at home that they've lost the first set. It's almost like you don't see a sense of urgency or complacency rears its ugly head when they're at home, which is something you don't want to see and something you want to get out very quickly.
Right, they played well at home last week on the 5th. Last Wednesday, we had that game live here on the Bethel Sports Network. They beat Huntington. Really need this win. We've talked about it a lot tonight, that this is one they should win, and they really need it. They have not really dominated. The first set could have gone either way. They almost lost it. Came down the stretch, played really well, got the win. And then the second set, they couldn't get the points when they needed them, and they lost it. So this could go either way. They need to start playing better, because this is one they really need and they really should win.
Not able to, like you said, not able to pull it out in the second set. They were in the exact same situation almost. They were down 24-21 in the first set, and then down 24-22 going into set point. They were able to pull it out in the first set, but that second set, I think it would be much easier just to say, hey, let's go in, let's not play from behind, let's get a lead, let's get a comfortable run going, let's put it together. Communicate well with your teammates. Those are your sisters on the floor out there. And all around, keep the intensity up. They were very business sense. Like, you looked at them and they had an all business demeanor about them in that first set, especially when they were coming for the comeback. They had an all business demeanor about them, and then they kind of lost that edge as they were going on through that second set, and it hurt them. It proved to hurt them. It was harder to get it back instead of just maintain it as the set went on.
Yep. And then when you put yourself in those situations where you're up against it and the other team is up 24-22, 24-21, eventually that's going to come back to haunt you. It only takes one simple error, one mistake. They get a point and win the set. So Pat's got to try to avoid getting down late in the set. They started out the second set really well.
This they did on a 4-0 run, but kind of fell apart after that.
Right.
Here come the Pilots back onto the court as they get ready to take on this post-intermission set, this third set. Maybe, what do you think Coach Wiegand was saying to him at the intermission?
I think talking about playing consistently, trying to avoid the mistakes, or the mental errors that come back to haunt you. I think she's probably also talking about how important this win is. Some of the other things we talked about, defending the home court. This is one that they should win. Probably reminding them that if we want to do well, if we want to even have a chance to finish in the top 4 of the crossroad league standings, we need to get this win.
Definitely. And Bethel coming out of the intermission on the court right now is Meg Gabbard, Katie Easter, Haley Brown, Peyton Anderson, Britton Carnahan, and Cassandra Williams. Hoping to get some size up there on the front side to help out that block game, which dropped off entirely in the second set. So definitely getting some height there as Cassandra Williams comes in at 6'1". Britton Carnahan also 5'9" and 6 foot or 5'9" for Peyton Anderson as well. My bad, folks. I am all over the place today. But we will get better. And on the floor right now for the Cougars is number 3, Sam Soltis. Number 5, coming off the court actually. Number 8, Valerie Flick coming on. Number 12, Emily Poe out there. Number 3, Sam Soltis, like I said. Cassidy Ramel, number 2. Number 7, Becca Pruden. Number 16, Sadie Alberson. And number 13, Megan D'Agostino. Valerie Flick having a wet paper towel wiped on her face. Maybe she's having some issues. Be sure to watch that as this game goes on. Good serve there. Great block by Cassandra Williams. Peyton Anderson able to try to get in that back corner. Great set there from the Pilots. Starting out strong, 1-0. Haley Brown back to serve, and as we've talked about so many times before, inconsistency in the serving game from Haley Brown. She's good. When she's good, she is on top and she plays well. But when she is off, you see it, the service errors into the net being her biggest vice. Peyton Anderson brings it up. Brought over and too much to handle from Sadie Alberson. Ties it up 1-1. Little break on the court right now as the officials trying to get something together at the table. Talking things over with the sideline at St. Francis. Valerie Flick back to serve whenever the time is right. Seems to be a discrepancy at the table that they're trying to figure out. Pilots is trying to stay loose as Peyton Anderson and Aaron Carlos are stretching on the court. Aaron Carlos, Peyton Anderson, Britton Carnahan, Cassandra Williams, Meg Gabbard, and Katie Easter on the floor right now for the Pilots. You'd think with this third set being so pivotal and so important, you would think you'd see likes of Haley Brown or Zoe Wolfenbarger on the floor, but
well, it's early. You want to save them, save your best players, make sure they're fresh later in the set, right?
Wolfenbarger actually on the sideline right now, jacket on.
Maybe just trying to stay warm.
Maybe she's cold, maybe she's, I don't know. We'll keep you posted on that one. As she gets the team together on the sideline, they're all huddled up, trying to keep them loose, keep them enthusiastic. They're having fun. Over there on the Bethel sideline. Pilots talking over on their side of the court. Keeping it together, all huddled up, all loose and easy, both on the court and on the sideline. Meg Gabbard having a conversation with the assistant coach, but Zoe Wolfenbarger showing that senior leadership on the sideline as she is keeping the sideline loose, having fun, smiling, being funny. As looks like we are about ready to start this third set back up after this brief intermission.
Not sure what was going on, but looks like we're ready to play.
Looks like we are ready, and Nikki Marshall is there to serve for St. Francis. She's well. Peyton Anderson gets the quick set over and is able to get the point. Score is now 2-2. That evens it up. And back to serve for the Pilots is Peyton Anderson. Up they go, and great job there by the block. Cassandra Williams and Amanda and Amanda Brinkman, or Britton Carnahan. It was Brinkman, that's my fault. Amanda Brinkman there on the block. Peyton Anderson to serve for the Pilots, gets it over. Nikki Marshall able to corral the serve. Well done by 16, Sadie Alberson, as she brings that one right on the line with some heat. Now back to serve for the Cougars, number 11, Chloe Hubner. Received well by Katie Easter. Peyton Anderson sets up Williams. Well done there. Nice dig by the Cougars. I think that was Hubner. Anderson sets it up for Carnahan. Hubner sets up. And Clark. Well done there from Brinkman. And too much to handle there. Amanda Brinkman, that's senior leadership on the court. Coming back onto the court for the Pilots is the freshman, number 11, Bridget Downs. She is getting some nice playing time tonight.
Into serve. She gets it over.
Hubner brings it over. Too much to handle there from Haley McMillan. As Cassie Sears just cannot set it up for her teammates. On the floor right now for the Pilots, Aaron Carlos, Bridget Downs, Cassie Sears, Cassandra Williams, Peyton Anderson, and Amanda Brinkman. Valerie Flick to serve for the Cougars. Anderson sets it up for Sears, who gets it over. Flick is able, quick set there.
Nice save.
Well done by the freshman. Too much on it there from Amanda Brinkman. It is now 5-4 as momentum is stuck right in the middle. They are just pushing at each other, waiting for someone to lose some grip so they can get some traction and go on a run. Anderson sets it up for Sears. Bounce off the net, well done there. Brought home by the freshman again. Well done there. Bridget Downs, very good effort.
She's all over the floor.
On the freshman on that one. Very well done, earning that playing time. As Aaron Carlos is back to serve again. Hubner, miscommunication on the sideline, on the floor for the Cougars. 6-5 now for the Pilots.
That serve just floated over the net. It almost looked like it wouldn't make it. I think it confused the Cougars. There it is again.
And that's another ace for Aaron Carlos, by the way. She now breaks the tie with Wolfenbarger.
Peyton Anderson with a nice dig there, but couldn't get enough of it. Couldn't keep it quite in play.
Freshman able to get the dig there. Peyton Anderson to Haley Brown. Nice save there by the libero, Valerie Flick. And right between the block is Cassidy Rammel. Found it right in the middle. Coach Wiegand looking at the assistants for that one, trying to figure out how to best voice her opinion there.
Brown and Brinkman were there, but you just snuck it through them.
Emily Poe back to serve. Received well by Carlos to Anderson. Setting up Haley Brown, tip over. And off of Cassie Sears there. Great block. Cassie Sears looked like it hit a brick wall on that one. Very well done by Sears on that block. And that's the defensive presence we were looking for. As we were talking about during the intermission, they kind of dropped off, but now it is back, and Meg Gabbard is back to serve. Gets it over. Valerie Flick able to get the return. Anderson sets it up for Sears, who gets it over into the block. Well done there by Cassie Sears. That is 2 points in a row for her. 8-6 is now the score in favor of the Pilots. as Meg Gabbard is back to serve once more for the Pilots. Hits it over again, but too much on it there. Those little mistakes rearing their ugly heads again for the Pilots. Can't afford to have too many more of those. Well received serve. But a double hit called on the Pilots. That one off the side of the hand of Sam Soltis. That makes it Bethel's lead 9-8.
Katie Easter back to serve.
Back down, and the block is there. Britton Carnahan and Haley Brown, well played there. Aaron Carlos sets it up for Anderson. Tries that little quick touch. And brings it home there. Number 5, Britton Carnahan. They're loving that on the Bethel sideline. Vegas and Cassie Sears has a little celebration there. Another little developing story. Vegas still has not seen the floor in this set. 10-8. Pilots seem to be doing pretty well without her. She is jacket on and playing the role of team player.
Interesting.
Third set.
Was that lollipop serve?
Valerie Flick. And brought home with some authority there from Cassidy Rammel.
Aaron Carlos on the floor trying to dig that. Good effort, just couldn't quite get it.
After that huge hit, Rammel back to serve. Line drive serve received well by the Pilots. Haley Brown just has to get it over. And Gabbard able to get it there, but mistimed the jump there was Anderson. It is now 10-9.
10-10.
10-10 there, my fault. Folks, like I said, we're going on fall break. It's tough, folks. Cassidy Rammel, service error into the net. Now back to serve for the Pilots, Haley Brown, and she's been inconsistent, but able to get it over that net that time. Quick set over, and good effort there from the Pilots, just not able to get it over the net. Seemed like Gabbard, Carnahan, and Williams had a hand on it, just not able to get it over.
Yeah, they all got a piece of it. Good dig by Gabbard initially, but they just couldn't keep it in play.
Now Nikki Marshall back to serve for the Cougars, just touches it over.
Tough break.
Sometimes better to be lucky than good. They'll take the points wherever they can get them. 12-11 in favor of the Cougars. Marshall to serve, received well by Gabbard. Gets it over to Anderson. Carnahan able to get it up right in the face of Nikki Marshall. Some authority on that one. They're feeling it. Britton Carnahan knows. And now Nikki Marshall knows. Might as well just step out of the way when Britton Carnahan's bringing some heat.
Yeah, she couldn't get out of the way of that one.
Set over off tip. Anderson sets it up for Brinkman.
Nice.
Well done there. Amanda Brinkman brings it home for the Pilots, 13-12. Anderson serve received well by the Cougars and brought home there by number 16, Sadie Alberson. Now back to serve for the Cougars, number 11, Chloe Hubner. Set up Peyton Anderson. Williams gets it over, and that is a touch for the Cougars. So that is a point for the Pilots, 14-13.
And still no Zoe Wolfenberger.
Yeah, she seems to be pretty comfortable on that sideline with the jacket on. I don't think she's going to be coming back here. Certainly doesn't look like it. This team seems to be doing all right, though, as Brinkman tries to get it over, but can't. Cassie Sears sends it over. Good dig there by the libero. Ball over. Sears just missed, times the jump. As it is now all knotted up, 14-14. This game has been surprisingly back and forth if you're looking at it on paper, given the records. Cougars come in 3-20 on this season. You expected it to be.
Yeah, we expected it a little more one-sided in favor of the Pilots, but it's been pretty even.
Yeah, the Cougars showing some fight, but great play there from the Pilot side to take the lead, get the advantage for now. Haley Brown comes in for Cassandra Williams.
Freshman Bridget Downs getting a lot of playing time.
And she's making use of every minute. She's doing very well. There she is right there, the dig, gets it back over the net. Free ball for the Cougars. And a lot of heat on it there. Erin Carlos and Bridget Downs not able to do anything with that one. That was a solid hit for the Cougars. Now back to serve for the Cougars, number 12, Emily Poe. Haley Brown gets it over. Hubner sets it up. Cassie Sears gets it over, and miscommunication, but it seems like they're okay. Pilot sideline calling for a double hit, but they don't get it. Hubner sets over, has to go over. That's a free ball for the Pilots. Peyton Anderson sets up Haley Brown, but the block is there one-on-one, and the winner of that one-on-one battle is number 2, Cassidy Rammel. I'm sorry, number 13, Megan D'Agostino. Little situation brewing on the court. Down is the libero, number 8, Valerie Flick. But she is back up, thankfully. Now, at the beginning of the set, she was getting her head dabbed with a paper towel, with a wet paper towel, but seems like they're going to take a timeout. We surely hope she is okay.
She looks okay. She got up and walked off.
Getting some water in her, see if that'll help her out. Now the Pilot sideline. Now something very interesting in this shot, as you can see there in the jacket, Zoe Wolfenbarger leading the team in kills, senior leadership, but not out there, has not seen any time in this third set. Now that could lead to injury. Now she has that right leg taped up right over that tattoo there. So maybe that has something to do with it. We don't know, folks, we're speculating, but she is being the consummate team player. She's over there on the sideline, celebrating after a kill, after her team does well. So
she has to be hurt.
Has to be something, but
she's the best player, best all-around player, and she would clearly be in if she was healthy.
But the team fights on no less. They are only down by 1 point, 16-15. And we are getting great effort there. Erin Carlos, who you can always expect from the junior to give great effort, 110%. But now you're seeing great effort from the freshman, number 11, Bridget Downs, who has been all over the court in that back row. Erin Carlos playing very well together. See if they can get it done here, finish off this set. Set by the Cougars, see by Downs. Anderson sets it up for Sears. That's a touch at the net. That's a point for the Pilots, knotting it up at 16. Coach Wiegand happy with what she saw on that point there.
Meg
Now-
Gabbard checks in to serve.
And now back to serve is Meg Gabbard, who's had a pretty consistent night serving. No service errors for Meg Gabbard. Gabbard with the dig on that one, sets over to Anderson. Sears gets it over, and that one's into the back corner. 17-16 is now the score for the Pilots. Very good accuracy shown there by Cassie Sears to get it right inside that back corner.
Good execution.
Now Gabbard back to serve again for the Pilots.
Oh,
Spoke too soon earlier and I said no service errors for Gabbard.
he jinxed her.
The old commentator's jinx. I'll apologize to Meg after the game. That's my fault. Nevertheless, it is Cougar ball now. All knotted up at 17 in this all pivotal third set, so you can go up 2-1 and get the advantage. Number 3, Sam Solt is back there. Aaron Carlos sets it up to Anderson with the quick set over, and the Cougars just weren't ready for it. Weren't ready for that quick set. Everyone caught staring as it goes down right in the center of their zone.
She had several points like that in the first 2 sets and had gone a while without one of those and snuck one in at an opportune time.
Caught him napping. Brought over. And Haley Brown brings that one home for the Pilots. It is now 19-17. Pilots able to mount a little bit of a run here.
Peyton Anderson with the point and the previous point, and then with the assist there.
Set up there. Too much on it there. Number 13, Megan D'Agostino. Able to bring that one home for the Cougars. Now back to serve is number 2, Cassidy Ramel. Is now 19-18 in favor of the Pilots. Anderson able to get that one over, but blocked right away. Aaron Carlos with the dig there, sets it up to Anderson. And Britton Carnahan able to sneak it over.
She planned that.
Oh yeah, definitely calculated. Just how you throw it up. You just get it to stall on the net there for a minute and fall right over. Very advanced technical volleyball being played there by Britton Carnahan.
Nice break for the Pilots.
And then the
Tough serve.
inconsistency shows again from Haley Brown. You see it game in and game out. She is either on point from serving or she is not. And she's showing tonight she is just not in it. She's not on it today. Back on the court, developing story for the Cougars. Valerie Flick back on the court. She seemed to be on the sideline, getting a wet paper towel on her face, but she seems to be back. Carlos gets it for the Pilots. Carnahan gets it over. Nikki Marshall sets it up. Quick set for the Cougars.
save by
Pilots are
Gabbard.
ready for it. Too much heat on it there for Carnahan. Number 6, Nikki Marshall back to serve again for the Cougars. Carnahan just with a tip over. The block's able to knock it up. And too much on it that time for Alberson. As the point goes to the Pilots, it is now neck and neck. 21-20 now for the Pilots in this third set.
Pilots bring Amanda Brinkman in, get a little more size at the net. Nice serve.
Well done there. That is an ace for Katie Easter. 22-20 now in favor of the Pilots as Peyton Anderson is back to serve. There's floater over the net there. Sandra Williams there for the block. A lot of heat on it there, not able to track it down. Well done there from Sadie Alberson. Back to serve is Chloe Hubner for the Cougars. Peyton Anderson sets it up. Carnahan, but the block is there. Number 5, Haley McMillan, able to put it right back down in her face. It's all knotted up at 22. Timeout now. What's Coach Wiegand got to say to her girls to fire them up and get them for this last 3 points?
Just got to play well. Got to execute. Got to avoid mistakes. Can't serve it into the net.
It's got to be very crisp in these last 3 points. And they can't give anything to them. It's the mental mistakes that you have to eliminate, especially when there's only 3 points left to find out who goes up 2-1 in this game. It's very important, and the Pilots struggling maybe a little bit more than you would think with a team that, like we said before, on paper didn't seem like it stood much of a chance. But just give credit to St. Francis. They're showing a lot of fight.
Right, we thought this was going to be well, not necessarily an easy game, but we thought the Pilots would win this one. And here they are tied at 1 set apiece and 22-22 in the third. So this could go either way.
And like we're seeing in that shot right there, folks, Zoe Wolfenbarger still on the sideline, has not seen any time. Seems like she will not see time for at least the rest of this set, as it is 22-22. Chloe Hubner back to serve for the Cougars. Quick spike over, handled well by the Cougars. Katie Easter gets the dig. Peyton Anderson sets it up for Carnahan. Nikki Marshall gets it over and brought home by Cassandra Williams. Williams able to get that point over.
Cassandra Williams always looks like she's having fun.
Oh yeah, you can even see it when she's around campus. Always got that smile on her face, always. Peyton Anderson sets it up for Brinkman. Off the block. I think it's tied up at 23 there. Now back to serve for the Pilots, the freshman Bridget Downs, who has not only gotten playing time tonight, but she has made the most of it. Hubner sets it up brought home there by Becca Pruden. Now it is set point for the Cougars. This point here decides who's going to go up 2-1 in this Crossroads League matchup. And back to serve is Valerie Flick, who has been fighting what seems like a little bit of a bug going on. Able to get the serve over. Aaron Carlos sets over to Peyton Anderson. Blocked back in, and there's that set point. Cougars take it, go up 2-1 on the Pilots. That is definitely not what Coach Wiegand and her girls wanted to see. As the Pilots fall in this third set.
Yeah, down 2-1 in sets. Zoe Wolfenbarger apparently hurt. Not the greatest situation for the Pilots. Again, a game we thought they would win, but they're struggling.
Seems to be a little pre-fall break jitters going on for the Pilots there. They are kind of sleepwalking through the game. You kind of see it at some points. It's very up and down. It's like a roller coaster. It's going up and down. At the top, they're playing with focus. They have that killer instinct, but when they're at the bottom, they're playing very, very lethargically. That's a $20 word right there, lethargically.
I don't know if I'd say that. I think I think the effort's there. Just
definitely, you're seeing effort from players. Aaron Carlos bringing it like she brings it to every game. But what you're seeing with very well done is Bridget Downs, true freshman out of Lexington, Kentucky, able to come in presumably for Wolfenbarger, who is out, and just say, okay, well, I'm going to come in, I'm going to make the most of my playing time, I'm going to show the coaches that I can do this and I can earn some more minutes as time goes on.
Yeah, she's played well. She's been impressive.
Definitely got the attention of the coaching staff, as she is increasing her minutes as the game goes on. Here she is very focused into the huddle of what Coach Wiegand has to say, and she is playing her heart out tonight. Probably didn't expect to play, but she is in there, and she is making the most of her opportunity, which is what you want to see from the young freshman.
Well, she plays. She just is getting a lot more playing time than she normally would.
More than usual, that's for sure.
And Bethel with only 12 players on the roster, everyone has to play a fair amount of time.
Definitely, as we now have the third set stats delivered to us by the amazing Joshua Rodak. Digs were a big factor for St. Francis. They had 21 to Bethel's 18.
So he took her jacket off.
And leading the team in kills for the Pilots, Britton Carnahan, Cassie Sears, and Cassandra Williams each lead the team with 3 assists, 11 for Peyton Anderson, 1 for Katie Easter. Diggs spread out the love, but Katie Easter had 5, 4 for Erin Carlos, 3 for Bridget Downs and Meg Gabbard, 2 for Peyton Anderson, and 1 for Cassandra Williams. And the blocks game is back. 4 blocks for the Pilots total. Amanda Brinkman, Haley Brown, Cassandra Williams, and Cassie Sears, each with 1 apiece.
And Zoe Wolfenbarger has taken that jacket off. She's on the sideline and appears to be warming up. Be interesting to see if she gets in.
So maybe
not playing that entire third set.
Maybe just taking a set off, trying to loosen up. Look at her, she is trying to loosen up on the sideline there. That would be good news for the Pilots so they can get that leadership back out on the court.
They can definitely use her.
Definitely, as Cassidy Ramel is back to serve for the Cougars. Gets it over, Erin Carlos sets it up. Peyton Anderson and Cassandra Williams to bring it home, and here comes Wolfenbarger.
Yep.
She is ready to check in for Meg Gabbard. Whatever it was, 1 set out, should be able to fix it, Coach Wiegand's thinking. Peyton Anderson gets it over, returned well by the Cougars, set over. Peyton Anderson sets up Wolfenbarger.
She looked healthy on that.
Very. As she's there again, gets it over. Still tough to handle, but set up by Cassandra Williams, and too much mustard on it there for Britton Carnahan. Sadly, good rally there from the Pilots. Just not able to finish when they needed to. Big story here. Now let's see how Vegas can do when she's coming off that, taking a set off for what we presume to be an injury.
She seems fine though. I'll have to ask Coach Wiegand what was that about.
Lucky shot there from the Cougars. They were able to get the dig to fall into an open zone. Erin Carlos receives the serve, line drive serve. And Vegas just gets that ball blocked right back into her face by Sadie Alberson and Haley McMillan. Nothing going there as the Pilots are down 3-1 to the St. Francis Cougars. Nikki Marshall gets it over, received well by Katie Easter. Peyton Anderson sets up Carnahan. Nice dig there. And Erin Carlos just not able to get under it, as the Pilots are now down 4-1. Coach Wiegand calling a timeout before it gets any worse. She has got to get some faith into her players. They are playing not very good to start out this fourth set. They're down 2-1. They can't afford to get down too far, and that's what Coach Wiegand's saying to them. You got to come out there, you got to attack it. You got to be able to have that intensity throughout. You can't just have flashes of it. It's got to be a consistent thing. She is fired up. Let's go is what she's saying. Move it over. Let's get it.
Right, and with Zoe Wolfenberger returning, you thought there would be a spark, but not a great start for the Pilots.
Nikki Marshall's back to serve. She gets that little floater serve over, and that'll be an ace. Not what the Pilots were looking for.
A little bit of moisture on the floor.
That'll be an ace there for Nikki Marshall.
Pilots did not react well to that. A little
There's
slow.
There's that high floater serve that we've seen the Pilots do a couple of times from Aaron Carlos. Just get it right over high trajectory and let it fall right over the net. Aaron Carlos receives the serve. Peyton Anderson to Wolfenbarger. The block is there for Cassandra Williams, who is feeling it after that point. Pilots only down 5-2 now, and in comes the freshman, Bridget Downs. She's coming in to serve now. That high floating serve that we've seen is a favorite for both teams tonight. Marshall able to get some heat on it going over. Gets it right into Bridget Downs, and
I thought Bridget should have let that one go.
maybe a freshman mistake from Downs. Hasn't really developed the eye yet that you see from upperclassmen like Carlos and Wolfenbarger. That comes with time, though. She's able to get the dig there to Anderson. And Cassie Sears. That one's called out. Point for the Cougars. 7-2 is the score now, as the Cougars are up 2-1 on the Pilots. It's definitely not how we envision this game going for Bethel.
Not at all.
As if they lose this set, it'll be game over. 3-1. Double hit called on the Pilots, as it is now 8-2. Coach Wiegand thinking about a timeout. Not yet, though.
Yeah, the team has not responded well after that last time out. I think Coach Wiegand was hoping for better results.
A little too much on that one. Point goes to the Pilots. They needed that one. In comes Haley Brown for Cassandra Williams.
Downs with good judgment, letting that one go there.
And now Aaron Carlos back to serve. If she can put together a couple of aces. Get the Pilots back into this. Marshall getting it over. Wolfenbarger. Well received there by the Cougars. Carlos gets it over to Anderson, and Brown brings it home for the Pilots. That'll be a point for Haley Brown. Good kill there. Good point for the Pilots. Definitely some building blocks. See if they can get some momentum on their side. Close out this 4-point deficit as St. Francis leads 8-4. High floating serve just barely makes it over the net. Brought home there by number 10, Ann Clark.
Pilots just struggling to string together points.
as they are now down 9-4 as Valerie Flick is back there for the Cougars to serve. Serve received well. Haley Brown
Nice.
brings it home for the Pilots again. She is playing well on that front line. As Vegas back now to serve. She's been the story of tonight, sitting out that third set. As she is able to get it over those high floating serves. She'll be a mainstay for the Pilots. Erin Carlos set up to Peyton Anderson and Cassie Sears. But a violation there, point for the Cougars. 10-5 now is the score in favor of St. Francis. And out comes Nikki Marshall. Serving now, Emily Poe for the Cougars. Over the net, line drive serve. Anderson sets it up. Haley Brown just not able to get it over as the deficit is now 6 points. And a timeout now called by Bethel. Coach Wiegand is not happy with what she's seeing from her girls tonight.
Yeah, she's worried now. They are not playing well.
Before this deficit gets out of hand, try to get some sense into her girls as they're talking to each other now in that huddle. Saying we need to get it together. Like when you look at your leadership, as you see right there, Meg Gabbard, cut it out, get it done. I'm tired of this, of the poor performance. I'm tired of that. Let's just get it together. And now Coach Wiegand comes in and they're all zeroed in.
Yeah.
And if you're on the St. Francis side, Scott Haydix is just saying, hey, what you're doing is working. Just keep it clean, keep it consistent. You've got it. Just bring it home. Just calm it down. I got the Mr. Miyagi wax on, wax off on his hands all game long.
Danielson.
Coach
You
Scott
old, you old enough to remember the Karate Kid?
Tim, I am a man of many talents. My movie prowess goes back to the 80s, goes to Top Gun, every big movie. I know it, Tim. Peyton Anderson serves it up to Cassie Sears off the block. Set there by the libero Flick. Bounce off the net. Anderson able to lose the one-on-one matchup. Cassie Sears able to get it over. Flick gets the dig. Good support there from the freshman. And Sears able to bring it home for the Pilots.
Much better play there by the Pilots.
Definitely much smoother. The communication was there on that point. See if they can get it together and string it together for some points. As the score is now 11-6. The deficit is 5. That is not the way to mount a comeback there, folks. There's some substitutions on the floor right now. For the Cougars, and serving is number 3, Sam Soltis. Received well by Carlos. Peyton Anderson sets it up for Britton Carnahan. Well received by the Cougars. Quick set over. Britton Carnahan off the block. That's a point for the Cougars. 4 hits called on the Pilots. Too much mustard on that for Sam Soltis. That'll be a point for the Pilots. 7-13 now in favor of the Cougars. Kristen Mitchell is served for the Pilots. Try to get something going. His high floating serve seemed to be a trend. The block was there on that one. Well done. Block there again. Cassandra Williams all over that front line. just sneaks it over, but Anderson with the quick set,
Yep.
and that'll bring it home for the Pilots. As the deficit is now back to 5. They are trying, inching closer and closer to closing the gap. See if Christian Mitchell can help him out with an ace. Received well by the Cougars, and what happened there, but bounced off the net and out. That'll be another point for the Pilots as they are moving along nicely.
You feel the momentum shifting a little bit.
Great block there from Cassandra Williams. The quick set is not falling for it that time. That's another point for the Pilots. As it is now, the deficit is only 3 now. They are getting there. 13-10 is the score. Oh, too much heat on that one. Some emotion coming from the St. Francis side as Cassidy Rammel able to send that one over, saying, come on, let's go. And now Rammel back to serve. She's a sophomore out of Fort Recovery, Ohio. Anderson, the block was there. Sandra Williams just able to get it out of bounds. That were in, but everyone was up front there. It was a good decision by Williams, just not executed well enough. Those high serves seem to be a trend in this game for both teams. Gabbard gets it up, just has to send it over. This is going to be a free ball for the Cougars. Brought home there very well by Sadie Alberson. The score is now 16-10. The deficit is 6. Pilots not faring very well in this 4th set, and if they don't watch it here, they could go down to a 2-9 team in the Crossroads League. Gabbard receives that well to Anderson. Britton Carnahan. They're calling it a double hit on the Pilots there. Hurting themselves there. 17-10 is the deficit now.
Just when you thought the Pilots were sneaking back in, Crusaders, or the Cougars come back with 4 straight points. Make that 5 straight.
Cougars not taking their foot off the gas pedal in this set. They want to bring it home. They want that 4th win on the season and 3rd one in conference play. But a service error is not going to get you there, as the deficit is now 7 for the Pilots. Coach Haydix arguing with the official there. He didn't exactly like something that happened on the court.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's arguing about there.
Peyton Anderson serve. Handled well. Aaron Carlos hits it over. Britton Carnahan gets it over there, and the front line is there, times it right. And Cassandra Williams takes on the 1-on-2 on the net. But the block is there, can't win the 1-on-1. Megan Diagostino is able to bring that one home for the Cougars. Cougars are now 6 points away from going back home with a win. Not what the Pilots were looking for when they came out for this 4th set. Serve barely makes it over the net. Handled well by Britton Carnahan. Wolfenbarger gets it over the net. And brought home there by Becca Pruden. Coach Wiegand is not happy, but she does not know what to say at this point. They are down by 9. She's got to be motivating.
St. Francis smelling blood. They haven't had many wins this year.
Wolfenbarger in some heat on that one. Hits it over. This is a free ball for the Pilots. See if they can set something up. Cassandra Williams gets it blocked right back in her face by Becca Pruden. Those are the statement plays right there. When you go up for that hard hit, you get it put right back in your face, literally. Britton Carnahan, that front line play is a brick wall for the Cougars, who are just tearing it up. 4 more points and 3 more points actually, and the Cougars will have brought this one home. Pilots doing anything they can to try and mount a comeback, but this is the largest deficit Bethel has. And make it larger, this is the largest deficit Bethel has faced all season. A 12-point deficit. There goes, received well by Katie Easter. Quick set over, not fooled. Brought home by Cassandra Williams, but usually when Cassandra gets a point, she's kind of happy and animated. She was all business coming off of that one. She is not happy with how this is going so far. But St. Francis has to put together 2 more points, and this game is in the books. As the Cougars will go home 4-20 on the season with that 3rd win in Crossroads League play. Kate Anderson over to Cassie Sears. Brings it home there for the Pilots. See if they can get something going off of that. It is not over yet, folks.
It's not. Long way to go, though. Really got to string together some good play.
And
there's
the
a block.
Play is there. Wolfenbarger brings it home. The front line play shows up there.
Where has that been?
Exactly, Tim. And back to serve again. As the freshman Bridget Downs played a phenomenal game, win or lose. Miscommunication there on the Cougar side.
4 straight for the Pilots.
I think you're feeling
Timeout.
the momentum shift. St. Francis taking a timeout. As Coach Scott Haydick's trying to figure it out. Assistant coaches talking to their players. I think we're going to see the wax on, wax off thing again. I think that's like a team motto or something this season for St. Francis. Just calm the storm.
Yeah.
And over on the Bethel side, you've got the momentum right now.
And when you're the coach of a 3-20 team, you're never secure.
Definitely. His job is on the line here, and a win here would help him out. Now, Coach Wiegand on that side, very matter of fact, you saw in that shot. As you can see, they are fanning off Valerie Flick. She has seemed to be having some kind of issue all night. But I digress. Back to Coach Wiegand. Very matter of fact during that point, during that timeout, saying, at this point, it's about whether you want it or not. Do you want it? Do you want to succeed? Do well? Do you want to move forward? Because the way they've been playing has shown they do not. And that is not going to help them out. It is now game point. Pilots down by 9.
And you can tell by the expressions on the St. Francis players' faces that they have not had a lot of success this year.
They are ready for a win, and they are going for it. As
and
that one is the game. Emotion mounting on the St. Francis side as Chloe Hubner hits the floor after that one. That's a heartbreaker for Bethel. As Bethel now goes down 5-7 in the Crossroads League, 9-16 overall. Cougars get their 4th win on the season. They are 4-20. and 3-9 in the Crossroads League. At this point, Tim, it was just about who wanted it more in that game, and St. Francis clearly wanted it more.
You could say that. They played well.
They did.
We haven't seen them play much this year. Obviously, they haven't had a lot of success. They did play well. I wouldn't say Bethel was at its best.
Definitely not the best performance we've seen from Bethel all season. At one point facing the largest deficit that they faced all season long. And St. Francis really brought it home really well in that last set. They played together, they played well, and they were able to get the points when it really mattered.
Yeah, difficult loss for Bethel, as we talked about early. This was one we thought they would win. It was one that on paper it seemed like they should have won, but couldn't come up with it.
Just shows you that anything can happen in the Crossroads League. Now we will be back here on the Bethel Sports Network on the 19th of October when on the 21st rather, as Goshen College comes to Goodman Gymnasium. But until then, we will see you later, folks. I'm Andrew Boyer for Tim Saravolo. Good night from the Bethel Sports Network.